Hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you a little bit of color management here in my two-color brioche cowl and how you transition from one color to the next color, especially from the burp row or the contrast color row to the main color row. So I'm at the end of my contrast color row and I've been burping along and slipping stitches and things have been great. But then I get to the very last stitch here. And sometimes what happens, this main color yarn that's supposed to have been dropped in the back ends up kind of falling forward. So the very last stitch of the main color row is supposed to be a yarn forward, slip one yarn over. And so it's supposed to end with a yarn over. And you want to drop it in the back. However, what happens when you're knitting in the round is that on the burp row, sometimes that yarn over ends up falling to the front. And that's because I didn't, put my yarn ball through the middle of my pattern when I was working to hold it there. So, and most people won't do that because that's too much of a hassle. So when you get to the very last stitch, it needs to have its yarn over corresponding stitch. So you want to make sure if it's fallen to the front in this main color that you pull it back over to the back and kind of just hold it in place before you do your burp for that last stitch. And that's just really important because you want to make sure that your color transition looks nice, that you haven't missed your little yarn over there. So you're just going to burp that off. And then the other important piece of transitioning is taking that contrast color yarn and bringing it to the front of your needle and then dropping the work in the front. And that is so that when you go to pick it up the next time, it's ready in the right place where it belongs. So then you just finish that last one, you pick up the main color and you go on to the corresponding row. So the only time I found that an issue with this particular pattern is when you're transitioning from a contrast color row to a main color row. You don't want to forget about the yarn over at the very end there. So make sure that if your main color yarn has fallen to the front, that you move it to the back so that you can have really consistent transition in the pattern for this circular cowl.